Today, our topic is what would Marcus Aurelius say about social media. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and a Stoic philosopher, lived nearly 2,000 years ago, long before the invention of smartphones, the internet, or social media. But his teachings, written in his personal journal known as Meditations, offer timeless wisdom that can help us navigate the challenges of modern life, including our relationship with social media. If Marcus Aurelius were alive today, he might not understand the technology, but he would certainly have something to say about how we use it and how it affects our minds, our character, and our sense of purpose. First, let's imagine Marcus Aurelius scrolling through social media. He would probably notice how much time people spend comparing themselves to others. On platforms like Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok, we see carefully curated images of success, beauty, and happiness. People post their best moments, their achievements, and their perfect lives, leaving out the struggles, failures, and ordinary days. Marcus Aurelius would remind us that this is an illusion. He would say, "Do not waste your time on what is not real. Focus on what is within your control, your thoughts, your actions, and your character." Social media often makes us feel inadequate because we compare our behind-the-scenes lives to someone else's highlight reel. But Marcus would tell us that true happiness comes from within, not from the number of likes or followers we have. Next, Marcus Aurelius would likely criticize the way social media distracts us from what truly matters. He believed in living a life of purpose and virtue, which requires focus and discipline. In Meditations, he writes, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Social media, with its endless notifications, videos, and updates, is designed to capture our attention and keep us hooked. It pulls us away from meaningful activities, like spending time with loved ones, pursuing our goals, or simply reflecting on our lives. Marcus would urge us to set boundaries with social media, to use it intentionally rather than letting it control us. He would say, ask yourself every time you pick up your phone, is this adding value to my life? Is this helping me become a better person? Another thing Marcus Aurelius would notice is how social media fuels anger, envy, and division. Online, people often argue, criticize, and judge others without thinking about the consequences. They hide behind screens and say things they would never say face to face. Marcus believed in kindness, empathy, and understanding, even toward those who wrong us. He wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." Instead of reacting with anger or hatred, he would encourage us to respond with calmness and wisdom. Social media can be a toxic place, but Marcus would remind us that we have the power to choose how we engage with it. We can choose to spread positivity, to listen with an open mind, and to treat others with respect, even when we disagree. Marcus Aurelius would also warn us about the dangers of seeking validation from others. On social media, we often measure our worth by how many people like our posts, comment on our photos, or follow our accounts. But Marcus believed that external approval is fleeting and unreliable. He wrote, "It is not what others think of you that matters, but what you think of yourself. True self-worth comes from living according to your values, from being honest, kind, and hardworking, not from the opinions of strangers online." Social media can make us feel important, but Marcus would remind us that real importance comes from how we live our lives, not from how many people notice us. Another key lesson from Marcus Aurelius is the importance of gratitude and perspective. Social media often makes us focus on what we lack, whether it's money, looks, or success. We see others achieving things we want and feel jealous or dissatisfied. But Marcus would tell us to shift our focus to what we already have. He wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." Instead of scrolling through social media and feeling envious, we should take a moment to appreciate the good things in our lives, our health, our relationships, our opportunities. Gratitude helps us find contentment and peace, even in a world that constantly tells us we need more. Marcus Aurelius would also encourage us to use social media as a tool for learning and growth, rather than mindless entertainment. He was a lifelong learner who believed in seeking wisdom and improving himself. Today, social media gives us access to incredible resources. Books, podcasts, articles, and courses that can help us grow intellectually and spiritually. Marcus would advise us to follow accounts that inspire us, teach us, and challenge us to think critically. He would say, waste no more time arguing what a good person should be. Be one. Instead of using social media to gossip or complain, we can use it to learn, to connect with like-minded people, and to contribute something meaningful to the world. One of the most important Stoic principles Marcus Aurelius taught is the idea of focusing on what we can control. Social media is full of things we cannot control: what others post, how they react to us, or what trends go viral. But we can control how we use social media, how much time we spend on it, and how we let it affect our emotions. Marcus wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Instead of worrying about things outside our control, we should focus on our own actions and attitudes. We can choose to use social media in a way that aligns with our values and goals, rather than letting it dictate our mood or self-worth. Another Stoic idea that applies to social media is the concept of memento mori, or remember that you will die. This might sound morbid, but it's actually a powerful reminder to live fully and intentionally. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the shortness of life and the importance of making the most of every moment. Social media can make us lose sight of this. We spend hours scrolling, watching videos, and consuming content that doesn't really matter. But Marcus would ask us, is this how you want to spend your limited time on earth? He would encourage us to use our time wisely, to focus on what truly matters, and to avoid getting caught up in trivial things. Finally, Marcus Aurelius would remind us that social media is just a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. It's up to us to decide how we use it. He would say, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If we fill our minds with negativity, comparison, and distraction, our souls will suffer. But if we use social media mindfully, with purpose and gratitude, it can enrich our lives. We can connect with others, learn new things, and share our own stories in a way that adds value to the world. In conclusion, while Marcus Aurelius never encountered social media, his teachings offer valuable guidance for how we can use it wisely. He would encourage us to focus on what's real, to live with purpose and virtue, and to avoid getting caught up in comparison, anger, or validation seeking. He would remind us that true happiness comes from within, not from external approval, and that we have the power to control how we use social media. By applying Stoic principles to our online lives, we can navigate the challenges of social media with wisdom, integrity, and peace of mind. So the next time you pick up your phone, ask yourself, what would Marcus Aurelius do? And let his timeless wisdom guide you toward a more meaningful and fulfilling life, both online and off.